Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be, testing a new stone. So I've got another Jnat, it come yesterday. It's supposedly from a 1970s, 80s barber. It shut down a couple of years ago. And well, this is it. So I don't know too many details about it, but it's from the same gent that I've got all three of my Jnats. I've only got one, I've got two now. I did have another one, but I sold that. And that's part of the reason why I got this one. So I sold my first one, to pay for that one. But I didn't buy no Christmas presents for myself this year. And I nearly always get a razor that I've been kind of after or wanted, or, you know, for whatever reason anyway. But I didn't this year because, well, I only really found one, and it was a bit out of my price range, and I've bought lots of razors for myself this year, so I thought, well, you know, let's just not bother. So anyway, I decided to get another stone, so this is what I've got. And like I said, it's meant to be from about the 1970s, definitely it was the 1980s the barber shop was running from. It's a lot softer than this one, but this one I think is considered a very hard stone, and it is. Like, I haven't experienced an actual stone as hard as this one. You know, they're probably out there. This one absorbs water a lot quicker. It sucks it up. It probably won't do as much now, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But it seems really soft, really muddy. Like, and you know, I'm not going to be telling any fibs the only thing I've done to this, by the way, is I've just done an initial test, put like a pen over it, that's why there's a few marks here and there, pencil over it, and I did an initial kind of flatness test on it, just to see whether I weren't a million miles off, and I didn't think I was, because I looked down it like that, but I'm not, you know, I didn't want to be doing loads of grinding on film today, basically. Yeah, so all I've done is I've just put that on it, really soft, really muddy, smells, well, a lot like Jnats do as well. Like, I love smelling the stones. Don't think badly of me. But yeah, I like the smell of stones and everything. And each stone's got its different smell. But so far, all three Jnats I've had have got a particular smell. Each to their own, innit? So what I've done last night is I get this. I do it to all my stones that I get. It's just crystal clear, rust-oleum, whatever you call it. Protective coat, seals, protects. Clear, gloss finish. Next time I get it, I'll probably get the matte one as well. It's just because I had it years ago and it was in it, sort of in my possession. So what I did, face down, that way I want it, yeah, I can see the shadow, face down, give it a good spray, you know, like really light coats. I've only done it once. It was already cashew sealed as well, but, you know, as much as I'd like to have go at cashew at some point, I needed to seal it basically. And if you look at the razor, look, I'll show you the stone. You've got to let that set for at least sort of 12-24 hours really. Look at all the razor marks on it. So every single one of these stones I bought off the same chap, they are all from barber shops. Like this one, the one before it absolutely stunk of like a traditional barber's, you know, house, like, you know, full on. It really smelt like it. This one did a little bit. And this one did as well. Like, for all I know, he could be bathing his stones in bloody foam, you know, lava, I don't know. But anyway, I've put my trust in him, and so far I bought 3 stones. Like I said, I was a bit concerned about how soft it is, you know, and but then I thought, like, slept on it and everything, and I thought, well, I've had German hones, you know, the little Turingen, you know, the little water hones. I've had 10s of them now. And I've had some of them that are super soft. I had like a greeny coloured one, and that was super soft. Like, for instance, when I flatted it with my big dia plate, it was just more or less instant, and it was full of mud. Like really muddy German home, which I know some of them are known for being really muddy and everything. So let's see, because that water home was great. But look at all the scratch marks on it where it's been dead in the razor. Look at them. I've never had a stone that's got this many marks in it, you know. Some of them are probably knives, I don't know. But I know for a fact these ones are definitely razors. Look how fine the edges are and stuff. And like them, if you could do that and you can see all the silhouettes of real tiny ones with all the hue marks as well. And again, the bottom, most of them look genuine sort of like razor marks to me. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it sucks water up like nobody's business. Right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go through what I do to a razor, to a stone when I get it. So first off, if I think it really needs it, I do the old sort of lacquer in the backs, the sides and everything. Obviously not the top, but it didn't matter if you wanted to do the top either, because just it'll come off when you do the grinding. So next off, because I'm not worried about the sides anymore, the bottom or anything, so now we're going to focus on the top. So first off, you just go around the top and you look for any sort of like holes or anything like that. Can you see any visual like dents, holes, anything like that that you can visually instantly see? And to my eye, in this light, it's not the best light because it's winter light, I can't really see what I'd call any sort of dents, holes or anything in the surface. They might come to the fore a little bit more, but what we have got is we've got a couple of nicks here. You don't have to use a marker, I'm just using a marker today because I know it show up more on the film. I do normally use a pencil, but get your sort of pencil and your mark in there a bit. Get it in there a bit. And again, I'd like to state that I'm not an expert on natural stones by any stretch of the imagination. I've only really been using natural stones now for, I think maybe, it's probably into my 3rd year. Like, don't get me wrong as well, in my 20s and everything, I did tinker around with lots of what we'd call British natural stones, and I probably come across a few German stones by mistake. And I think I did come across a few, I played with some of the American stones as well, but there's more with knives and axes and stuff. Little nick there. So I'm no expert, but this is what I do, and this is what I basically do to nearly every stone I get now. And I've done it to quite a few various stones. I think some of you might have seen me other videos with what's in my drawers and my stones and everything. So we're just marking up little bits here and there towards the surface that I'd like to get kind of rid of, because with with natural stones, you've got to be careful, because if the water gets in it, it can kind of literally separate the layers of sediment or whatever it was. And that goes for the top as well. So for instance, that's quite a bad little nick really, because it's on your work surface. You know, the water could get in there and it just sort of like keeps flaking this edge off away. So the best thing you can do is just flatten it off, round it off with whatever you've got. You could use, you know, like for instance, like you could attack that with, you know, let's just say something like that. You could put sandpaper around it. You know, sort of when it's like that size, the bigger the better. Like you could use something a little bit bigger than that and it'd still be fine. But lo and behold, I bought a load of these files for doing my sort of peening and scale work years ago. They were Noz Stubbs ones. If you don't know what Stubbs files are, they're quite a famous kind of British brand from yesteryear. So I'm not going to tackle that with that. I'm not going to tackle that with that because I don't need to. I am going to tackle that one with a file just because I want to do the least amount of damage possible as well. And you can see, look at that file, look. It's definitely the softest stone I've ever had. And this dude that I've bought it from, he's, you know, over the years he's gave me a bit of advice on Jnats and stuff. And he said, if you truly want to master learning how to sharpen, you need to master the soft finishing stones. And he says if you master the soft finishing stones, you will truly, you know, you have it nailed. Because when I first contacted him, I said I wanted a really hard stone. You know, because for me, a hard stone, it stays flat for long. It suits my convenience kind of stance on things. Let's put it that way. But he really put me off from getting a level 5, as he puts level 5 stones and everything. So anyway, I ended up getting like a level 4, 4.5, and it was a lovely stone, it really was. I do miss that stone in a way. So this time I've gone for a softer stone basically. But this one is mega soft. Way softer than I probably imagined. Like, I'm not saying his listing was wrong in any stretch of the imagination, because again, it's such a subjective thing. Let's get rid of these down there a bit. And after I've done this session today, I'll let it dry. And what I'll do is as well, I'll go around and respray these edges a little tiny bit with that lacquer. even if I get some on the top again, it don't matter, because I will just then reflatten it after I've done it. And it just makes sure these edges are doubly sealed, so there's no, well, I wouldn't say no, but there's less risk of the top having any chance of popping off. Might as well just use the file, it really is that soft. The file's just eating it, lovely. Hope you're all well, New Year and all that, innit? Right, put one there, haven't we? Let's get rid of whatever that was. Did mark it, it's tiny. I was hoping the sun was going to come and play around and show the stone off a bit better today, but it's so low this time of year. We want to get rid of the most sort of smallest amount of stone. Preserve what you've got, I always say, as best as you can. For future generations, really, that's why. See where the lacquer had done its job there, all the cashew, because it was sort of still attached on the edge. If you haven't checked out how they do that cashew sort of lacquer and everything, it's pretty cool, man. We'll have to sometime try and acquire how to get all the bits and bobs and give it a go. This file's got quite a good shape to it, it's quite a shallow sort of radius, so you're kind of naturally not digging into the stone too much. Nearly there, just a little bit more. Like I said, I will reseal that with lacquer. See how quickly the stone's dried out as well, it really is. I don't think I've ever experienced a stone quite as porous as this one. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, we're going to find out. Hopefully, you know, like I said, I ain't done nothing to this, so hopefully it's not an epic fail and it turns out it ain't razor safe. But I do know one thing. I know I'll be able to contact him and say, look mate, that ain't good enough, and he will refund. He will, you know, like ship it back and everything, and we'll go again. It's always good to find a vendor that is, you know, well, good like that. In terms of cost, this was $175, $180 with postage, and then I'm probably going to get a letter through the post in a couple of weeks saying you've got now customs duty fine. So you're probably turning into, well, I reckon it'd be about 225 total dollars. Once I get the final amount, I'll put it in the listing, just so everybody's got a bit of a gauge. You know, stones ain't cheap, good stones, you can luck into finding decent ones, and you really can. There's plenty of places out there you can find decent stones on the kind of cheap, but you know, it's a bit like pissing in the wind really. You just never know. Right, let's have a go, man. So let's start the flattening process. One of the characteristics of it was iron mono in the listing. but I don't really know what that means. I think it's something to do with the flecks that are on it. So let's rather gently do this. There's no need to add any real pressure really. This is a very, very old, worn dia plate. I highly recommend them. Sometimes I think you can get some quality issues with them, but there is other plates out there that are just as equally as good, I think. God, that's got right sticky, sticky, sticky. Look at that. That is stuck. So we're relatively flat all through there. We've got some low spots there, there, and a little tiny one there. So all we need to really do is continue with that and get those sides down. I don't care about the corners, I never do. But you can see how muddy, and it's just really, really muddy, man. I think it's going to feel lovely. Again, that's just stuck. Quite stuck. There you go, slide it off. Do what you're meant to do, slide it off. Let's wash that off as well. That will help. Well, mud helps it stick, doesn't it? Right, so we're down that side. There we go, that's, wow, just sticking. Even trying to slide that off was difficult. Right, so that's somewhere near now. It's a mucky job, especially as how sort of truly muddy it is. Right, so to me, that's flat enough, but I will do it more how you're meant to do it, or at least how I was always told. You're meant to mark it up again basically and go again. I don't think it's really necessary, but we will do it just the same. There's a bit of like a hairline fracture going along there. I can't see that it chases through the stone at all, but you get that quite a lot with natural stones. When you're buying a stone, especially when you're not really experienced at buying them, I'd always say get one that isn't really patterned. Get one that's quite uniform. There's a word that begins with H, homologous. I'm saying it wrong and I am, but you can look it up yourself. But it effectively just means that it's all sort of one kind of colour more so. So this has got quite some patterns in it, but nowhere near as much as some of the other ones you can find. And don't get me wrong, if you're really experienced at buying stones, buy what you want, man, because you know what you're doing. But when you're starting out, I would say sort of get one that's relatively the same. Like that end and that end have got like some detailing going on, but this section hole here is very uniform. And if it's being sold as like a razor finishing stone, you've probably got more chance of it being accurate, if you know what I mean. Right, let's just mark that up one more time and give it another burn. Even feels like it's trying to absorb the lead. The lead in my pencil. It's interesting. And the other reason you've got to seal like a really soft stone as well is just, well, I've read that they're just a bit more prone to the old cracking and stuff, so it's important that you do the best by it, and you know, you spend all that money on a stone. You want to make sure you make it last and serve its purpose for as long as you can. It's about the 800 and something gram mark, or at least it was before I started doing any of this. Try and keep your plate, use a plate that's bigger than a stone if you can. It's no real biggie if you can't, but you can start taking off the edges a little bit and you can end up with a bit of a domed stone. That's why it's always wise to have a stone that is bigger than your base stone you're flattering. Right. I'm happy with that. Don't feel like we need to do any more actual flattening work. So let's have a bit of a tidy up. Yeah, I think the iron mono thing is these speckles, or is it this line here? It's one of them. But like I said, I'm really not clued up. If you want to read up and get more clued up with stones, there's two websites that I believe are run by, well, I know one of them is for sure, by razor enthusiasts. One of them's Keith Johnson's website. I forget his whole website, so if you see this chap, I'm sorry, but he seems like a great gent. I've spoke to him a couple of times on forums, and his website's just lovely. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy, and the other one is Natural Wet Stones? It's something like that, but it's easy to find. But they both got detailed descriptions, and they go into great detail about the stones that they've experienced, and their knowledge seems great. Right, what I will do, is it's something I nearly always do when I get a new stone especially, is I'm just going to give it a few turns with this little diamond plate. It's a lot finer than my big old dia flat plate, and I think it just takes a bit of the roughness out. It's a very well used dia flat plate, so you know I will be creating slurry at some point. Let's try and get everything dry. I don't like handling razors with wet hands. Clean up a bit of a mess, put that aside. Got a clean one there. Right, where's my holder? It's quite a wide old stone, quite thick as well. I ain't had no coffee today yet, or any sort of stimulants, so it's always better to do your finishing work without any form of stimulants in you, I find. Coffee can make you go a bit juddery. Some people like that, I suppose. Oh, do you know what I've done? I had a hair saved there. It was a decent hair, popping hair, but now what's it done? Gone, innit? It's in the rag.